This is Mechanic Mike, your backyard mechanic. Now what we have here is our frame. We've got the four wheels on it, the brakes and shocks, and of course the engine and transmission in here. And we're gonna set our cab on today. But before we drop this cab on, I'm just gonna tell you a few things about this frame. You know, you can see how the rear end is it's a bolt. Everything's bolt on. A 12 bolt Chevy. It's got the Chevelle type hanger. You see the tubular lower control arms, and you see the adjustable upper. We got our emergency brake hooked up with the of course we got the rear, the disc rear single adjustable shock. You can see that. We got the big inch okay. We're going to hook our mufflers up too, but we won't have to worry about that. They're not going to be in the way because the mufflers are going to actually sit behind the cab. They're going to sit right in this area here. So we got that area clear. So actually the back of the cab is going to sit right around in here where that bolt, where that hole is, nutsert is located. You see we've got the four-wheel disc master cylinder and power booster. We got hooked up to our original brake, our brake pad. Yeah, our brake. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And then we've got here the DUI, Davis Unified Ignition. You see in the front, we're going to show you something too. You see how these headers fit nice in here? But when we come back, we see that the frame rails, as they taper in, you see how the frame rails go down and then they kick out. As they taper in, they kick out. That's typically for this 47 to 54 or 55 GMC Chevy chassis. But now what's done here is see how it's kicked out. Now that allows a lot of room for our headers. Now you see there's some applications where guys will notch the chassis just to allow for the header. Well, we got ample room here for the header. And you see again we got the disc brake set up here. And see how the engine sits, and the engine sits pretty low, and that's to prevent the top end roll. It's going to sit down in there, snug in there nicely, and we're going to get a lot of handling characteristics out of this one, and because we got these tubular A-arms, the top and the bottom. See, we got the CCP tubulars on the bottom. There's been a lot that's going into this frame. That's what we figure we'll show it and post this. Keep everybody posted on what's happening. Now, a lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll have a frame, and what they'll do is chop the front and put a new type suspension under it. Well, what we've done here, we went with the GM, you know, the A-body type suspension, because that's been tried and tested. We're not knocking these guys that come in and put in the these shop-built front ends. You know, you got a lot of these custom shops that figure they can do a better job than General Motors. Well, yeah, but General Motors, you know, have a team of engineers, and this has just been tried and tested time in and time out. So, you know, we can go to any shop, buy parts, and be right back on the road should something happen. Same with our rear. You know, we've got the same thing with the rear. That's a 12 bolt. You see how it's hung there. Everything's just a direct bolt in, bolt up. Even our brake lines come in, and we used what was already existing from General Motors. You can see how the brake tee comes in there and splits over, and then goes over to our brake line. A lot of characteristics here. When we then we look at the outsides of the frame. If you look close, we'll try to get a shot there. You can see these nut certs in the frame. See, and they're strong. We'll do another one here. We broke one, so we had to stick another one up in there. But all of these, you know, we'll use them. Again, we got a 400 transmission. We've done a few things to it, and that'll help us get down the road a little bit. But one thing I wanted to talk about here too is our braking system. See, typical General Motors front. We've got the dual pistons in the front though. That's a direct bolt in. But if you notice in the rear, we have also the typical General Motors. Again, all these things here have been tested year in, year out, tested and works fine. So that's the point what we wanted to get, something that's been tested true. We're going to do some adjusting on our drive height, our ride height, when we set the cab and the bed in place. We want that weight. Of course, that weight will give us a different ride height. And what we'll do is we've got, of course, these adjustable shocks front and back. So we're going to raise the front up. I don't know. We'll raise the front up as much as we possibly can. We're going to get probably, if we can get 3 or 4 inches out of that, I think that'll be a nice, comfortable ride height for the front. So, again, we'll give you some shots. So when you see this thing next, we'll have the cab sitting on it. And maybe we'll have the fenders bolted up. And who knows, in a little while, maybe we'll crank this thing up, see how it sounds, and then see how it moves. But again, we've got items that have been tried and tested by General Motors over there. And this is just a complete bolt in. One other specialty thing we'll show you here. You can see, if you look real close, what we've got up here, that's for our emergency brake. That's the new e-brake they got. And that's a little bracket. This little bracket was made up for the e-brake. See, and that goes and bolts there. See, everything we got is practically. We just had to do our own brake lines, but still, we put them in the armor cable or coil. We armored that. This is how our 2 1/4 exhaust, the tubular exhaust, is going to hook up. It'll come up to snug up on the frame because we're going to be sitting kind of low. You can see that we're going to sit kind of low, not to the ground, but we're going to have a nice little ride height when we finish this thing up. All right, combo valve. Just finishing up showing you a few things. We'll get a drive shaft once we get this thing measured up for our ride height.